Yes. Okay. So today I'm going to show you how to execute a Python program. So in previous session we have seen how to install a Python software into our systems. We have seen in previous session. So just today I'm going to take one small program and I will show you how to execute that program in your system. That is, it may be in IDLE, it may be in command prompt, or it may be in any IDE. So in today I'm going to show you three different ways. Okay. So first way, that is from command prompt, how to execute, I will show you. Okay. From command prompt. Next, second one is by using IDLE. Okay. Next, third one is from your any IDE, integrated development environment. So today I'm explaining about these three things. So before that one, first I'm going to explain about IDLE. So as you have installed Python in your laptops, everyone will have this IDLE. Okay. So once I will show you how to, if you are going to consider this Python shell, we are going to call it as a IDLE. In this, we can execute a individual statements. So if you want to execute a multiple statements also, we can execute here. So IDLE is used for to execute single statements, and also we can open a new file and we can write a group of statements also. That means we can write a program also. Okay. So let us see first about IDLE. So this is called as Python shell or IDLE. So if you see this one, we can understand. See here, it is called as IDLE. You can observe here, it is what? Python IDLE. So we can also call this one as Python shell. So when compared to other programming languages like Java, in Java they have introduced in 1.9 J shell. Until 1.8 version, they are not having the concept of this shell concept. But Python is having, from first version onwards, Python is having this IDLE concept. Okay. What is the use of this IDLE means? If you want to execute any type of operation, we can execute here directly. As we have seen in previous session, it can also act as a, for example, calculator. If you want to perform some arithmetic operations, directly we can enter here. Okay. In the same way, if you want to perform any type of multiplication or addition or any other thing, we can perform here. So now I want to print something onto my monitor. Okay. So print, for example, print of, I want to print hello. So here what we can observe here, first one is what? A single statement. Single statements can be executed here. This one is also a single statement. So if you are going to use this IDLE, we are going to execute a single statements. Okay, but not multiple statements in this IDLE. But if you are going to consider, if I want to write a group of statements, then I have to open a new file here and I have to save that. I will show you that one later. Okay. First, I want to show you the single statements. To execute a single statements directly, we can type in this way in IDLE, or we can call it as a Python shell. So we can perform any type of operations, but individually. Okay. So now I want to show you a group of statements, how to execute. So here we are having new file, or directly we can press Control N to open a new file, Python file. We can type Control N. So just I will write a two statements here. Okay. So after explaining this how to execute a Python program, I will execute the ways of execution in C program, in the same way C++, in also Python. So you can understand how easy the Python will be. Okay. So we can write hello, and we can also, here multiple lines are there. Okay. So I'm going for this separate file. Okay. For example, so see here, I'm going to save this file. So when we are going to consider, so here it is called as a just a file. Till now I have not yet stored this file anywhere. So we can consider this one as a text file. So this is, there is no use of this text file until I execute this file by using a PVM, Python virtual machine. Anyway, First I will save this one. So as it is my first program, just I will place it as a first dot, for example, first dot py. So the version, our programming is what? Python. So extension of my file should be .py. Okay. Okay. So see, I am storing it as a first.py, for example. Already first.py is there. So I will store second.py, for example. Okay. So now the file is stored. The name of this one is what? Second.py. This .py is an extension. That means what? For example, extensions means what? Means it indicates which type of file. For example, .txt, it indicates text file. .doc, it indicates document. .pdf, in the same way .exe. There are many extensions for each and every file. Some extension will be there. If it is a file, extension should be there. Okay. In the same way, I am going to write a program which is a Python program, so that there should be an extension called as .py. So your Python virtual machine, so I will discuss about virtual machine later. So your Python, that means who executes our Python program, is nothing but Python virtual machine. So that Python virtual machine can understand only .py extension files. If you are not going to place .py, it cannot understand that file extension and it cannot execute the program. So anyway, so now here I have written two statements how to execute this program. So you can see here carefully. So here I am going to press F5. Otherwise, directly here we are having a button called as run button. Here you can observe run module. Okay. So I have written some program here directly. If you want to use this run option, and we can also go to run module and click here, you are going to get what? Directly output will be printed here. See here. Output is what? Hello, good evening. You can observe here. Okay. So here, if you observe this one, from where I have executed C users, some desktop second.py. So next, if I want to execute a program, okay, same program I'm going to modify here. For example, I want to insert one more statement here. Python, for example, how many statements are there here? 3 statements. So if I'm executing, if I'm going to click F5 here without saving, see it is asking to save. That means what? You have modified your file. So before going to execute, we have to store the file to obtain. That means this particular modifications has to be applied to that file, so that we will get the updated output. See here. Here you can see that hello, good evening, and we can observe Python. Okay. Right, this is the one way of execution. So first what we have seen, individual statement, how to execute an individual statements in Python shell. Next, by using the Python, in from this you are going to create a new file, and there we can write multiple statements and we can execute. This is the one way. Next, I will go to second way. That is what? Command prompt. I'm going to use a command prompt. Okay. Okay. Now see, I am going to open a command prompt. So I think it is visible for you. Okay, right, white color, no problem. So I will try to increase my size. Okay. Okay, anyway, I will change it to some other mode. 1 minute. So here, anyway, okay, later we will see it. So now see here, now I want to execute what? My file is stored on my desktop. So I will show you the file once. Okay. So already here we have seen where I have stored here. You can observe that the address of the file. So C users, some name is there, desktop dot /second.py. That means my file is stored on desktop. so that here also I have to go to that same address. So here I have in some Sauji is there here. So cd space, I'm going to type what? Desktop. So cd is nothing but current working directory. So I'm going to current working directory, that is what? Desktop. Now assume that we are on desktop. That means what? Now second.py is available. Okay. So which type of programming we want to execute? Python. So type just Python here. Automatically shell will be created here. A new shell is going to be created. Whatever the way we have executed here, that means in Python shell. See here. Same way we can see here. See, in the same way we can observe in the command prompt also. Here also. Here also directly I can write what? Individual statements I can write here. So whatever these statements we have written in Python shell, here also we can write in the same way. Okay. Next one. Here I can also perform some operations. We have seen 2 plus 3 or some other, any type of operations can be written here. That means what? Here we can, same in the Python shell, in the way of Python shell, we can also use our command prompt. Okay, by typing a Python here. So if you type a Python on your command prompt, it will directly goes to your shell. In the same way, we can also use our command prompt as shell. So this is about individual statements. Now if I want to go back to my command prompt, just type exit. So directly I came back to my what I can say, command prompt. Here I can type some commands now. So now I want to execute a Python file which is present on my desktop. So already what is my current working directory here? That is desktop. So my second.py is present in desktop. So how to execute a Python file? So first we have to type Python, because our programming language is Python programming language. So what you have to execute? A file name, a code which is present inside a second.py. Now what happens when I enter this one? Automatically whatever the statements, whatever the code we have written inside a second.py, it will be executed. See, the same way here also we have seen the output. In the same way we are going to get in our command prompt also. Okay. So first way is what? In from the Python shell, you can go here and we can create a new file and we can write a group of statements in that file and we can save it by using a .py extension. And from that cell, if we want to execute that one, just press F5 here. If you press F5 here, no need of any writing any commands. Directly if you press F5, automatically it executes. But when we are coming for command prompt, this command prompt belongs to our computer, but this shell is belonging to what? This shell is belonging to Python itself. So no need of typing Python space some file name .py. So directly when we are going to press F5 here or run module here, directly we are going to get output on the Python shell. In the same way, if we want to get the same output by using our command prompt, what we have to do? First thing, to execute a single statements, just I have to type what? Python. So automatically you are going to get what? Python shell. In the same way how we have executed single statement in Python shell, that will in that way we can execute here also. Next one, sir, if I want to execute multiple statements in command prompt, so come back to our command prompt here, just to type exit. If we type exit here, we are going to exit from shell, Python shell. We are coming back to our command prompt. So from command prompt, if I want to execute a group of statements which are present inside a file, Python file, so then what I have to type? Python space second.py. Automatically Python indicates what? We are telling to a Python virtual machine to execute a file called as second.py. That means, so this pvm is going to execute second.py, and whatever the code that is present inside a second.py will execute, and the output is going to be generated here. So this is the second way how to execute Python program. So this video is going to be recorded and it will be shared to you, don't worry. Right, anyway, now I'm going to show you third way. Okay, so third way is what? Third way is IDE. Okay, IDE means integrated development environment. Okay, so here mainly in our software companies, generally we will use this IDE concept only, integrated development environments only, like NetBeans, Eclipse, PyCharm, Jupyter, and these type of many IDEs are there. But so I will show you what are the IDEs that are used for this Python. So you can see here. So, but I'm not going to ask you to download all these things, as we are a starting programmers. Python IDEs. Okay, you can see here there are multiple IDEs are there. So ideally, whatever we are using normal software, it is PyCharm. Next one is what? Spider, PyDev, and we are having many other things are there here. Many other IDEs are there. So here we can see 9 best Python IDEs. So if you see 9 best Python IDEs, here you can observe what first thing is, generally they will give PyCharm, an IDE called as PyCharm. Okay, they have given only online things. Anyway, don't worry about this. So we are having a IDEs, integrated development environments. So famous one, that means maximum people use for this Python is what? PyCharm. Okay, but I am not going to ask you to install any of these types. See, there are many other things are there. Okay, Genie is there, Cloud9 IDE is there. Okay, so you can observe many other IDEs here. Okay, but the reason why I am not asking you to install these things means one reason is there. So if you are going to use these IDEs, it is going to suggest automatic suggestions. It is going to give you automatic suggestions. So remember one thing, that if you are getting automatic suggestions when you are typing, we will not remember everything, because it is going to, whenever, for example, whenever you are going to type PR, it is going to give you a print function directly. On other suggestions also it is going to show you. So directly we can select from that. If you go on select in that way, we cannot learn Python, as we are starting in the starting level. I am not going to suggest you to use this IDEs. So for us, it is better to use this IDLE or this command prompt. Okay, anyone, both are same, but both are in the same way we can execute in both of the cases, but better use IDLE. Okay, if you go to IDE concept, there we are it is going to suggest you automatically, so that we cannot learn very fastly. If you already know Python, better go for IDEs only. I will not suggest IDLE or command prompt at that time. But if you are in starting stages, better go for IDLEs, better don't go for IDEs. But once you learn all the Python, you know everything in the Python, then I will suggest only for IDEs. I will not ask you to go for IDLE or command prompt. Okay,
Sir,
so we
one
are
quick
having
question.
Okay,
Other than suggestions, does if I use IDE, does it make any difference other than suggestions?
no, it will not make any suggestions. There you can observe what we can do means, if we are going to do a project where multiple files are there, Python files are there, we can group it in a particular folder. You can see everything in that IDEs only. It is what we can say, it will make easy our task easy if we go for IDEs. The only change it is,
Okay.
everything execution, everything will be same, output will be same, everything will be same except that one. Okay.
Thank you.
Right, so these are the different ways we can execute our Python program. So now I want to show you the differences between how C program will execute, C++ will execute, Java and Python. So before going to learn any language, we have to see some of the previous languages suggestions also, so that we can understand what is the advantage of this Python program when compared to other languages. So first I want to talk about C language. Okay, so generally, if we go to any programming language, first thing we are going to use is what? Source code. We will call it as a source code. Okay, source code. This is a source code. Here we are going to write source code. So if it is a C program, for example, I am going to place it as some a.c. Okay, because this is a C program. Okay, a.c. Next, after writing a C program, we are going to compile that one. See, remember here, The word is compile. After writing a source code, we have to compile. Okay, compile. So we are going to get one file called as obj file, object file. I'm talking about only C language. So if you understand the previous languages, that means C language, C++, Java, then we can come back to our Python. So here we are getting what? .obj file. Here this particular source file contains high level language, that means human readable language. So after compiling this source file, we are going to get .obj file. So this .obj file contains zeros and ones. Okay, so generally already in previous session I have explained about what our computer can understand. It can understand only binary language. So generally what this compiler does means, this compiler is going to convert our high level machine code. It is going to check whether the code that what we have written is correct or not. It will check mainly syntaxes. Okay, and it will check whether whatever the statement we have written is present in our C language or not. It will check. This compiler is going to check. After going to generate this obj file, we are going to link this one. Finally we are going to get a file called as .exe file. Generally we will see about .exe files in our computer. Many .exe files will be there. So first thing is what? Source code we are going to write. After compilation we are going to get .obj. After obj, here we are going to get .exe. So in this way we are going to do. That means if you are going to consider C, C++ and Java, two steps we have to perform. For execution we have to do two steps. First step is compilation, second step is execution. But in our Python we are going only for one step. So what is the reason? I will explain. Okay, so here the case is very important thing. Here you have to observe is, if let us consider I am going to write this program, I am going to write this source code in a Windows operating system. The code is written in Windows operating system, for example. So here I have used one type of compiler where, okay, here I will write. Okay, if you are going to see, I'm going to use a compiler which takes int size as 2 bytes. That means what? I will discuss about all those things, no problem. Here we are having one data type. So the data type size is what? 2 bytes, for example, in one compiler. So I'm going to take int a equal to 20 in one operating system called as Windows, and it is having one compiler. So internally 2 bytes is what? 16 bits. So here it is going to allocate how many bits? 16 bits. Okay. In other computer, for example, in Linux, I'm going to execute the same program with the different compiler which is having 4 bytes. The size of int is 4 bytes in that. So here I'm going to write int a equal to 20. Same thing I'm going to write. But here the allocation will be what? Different. For example, 32 bits is there. So as here the size of our integer is 32 bytes, and here it is what? Only 16 bits. The size is what? Only 16 bits. So here I can store up to some limit. Okay, that is the 2 power 16 value. That is 2 power 16 minus 1 value. Up to that we can store. That is what it is. 2 power 15 minus 1. Up to that we can store here, because we can consider here minus and positive values and negative values also. If we consider only positive values, we can store up to 65,536. Okay, so let us consider here. Here if I am going to store 32 bits, if I am having a 32 bits, for example, large values can be stored. For example, this value can be stored in 4 bytes. It is flexible, no problem. The value can be stored. So now the whatever the statement here I have written, that is what? 32 bits. If I send this program, that means the statement will be executed in some operating system which is having a 4 byte size. If I send the program, same program, to this one, that is Windows, which is having a integer size of 16 bits, then what happens? That this value cannot be stored in int, because here the int size is what? Only 16 bits. But whatever the whenever we are writing code in another operating system, here the size of int is what? 32 bits. That means here we can store this value, but when I'm sending the same program to other system, there the compiler, according to that compiler, int size is what? Only 16 bits. Can we execute this statement in this system? No, it is not possible. That means if we are going to consider a C programming, it is not same for all the platforms. It will act different when compared to all other. That means if you are going to consider one system, one platform, it is acting different. If the same code is taken to other platform, the output may be different. It will not act same. So we can say our C programming is platform dependent. It is not independent, platform dependent. If it is window only, it can execute, or if it is a particular compiled only, it can execute. It will not execute in other case. Okay. In the same way, in C++ also the case is same, but C is a procedural oriented, or we can call it as a structure oriented, but C++ can be considered as object oriented and also procedure oriented. This is a small difference, but there are many other concepts added in C++. We are not discussing in depth about those things, right? So when compared to when C and C++ both are having the same problem, both are what? Platform dependent. Now we are talking about Java, very important, because whatever the concept we are discussing in Java, the same way we are going to discuss in our Python also. Okay. So now see. So I'm going to consider about a program in Python. Sorry, Java. Here, if I consider a very important, here I'm going to consider a Java file. So here, as it is a Java file, I have to store it with what? .java extension. Okay. What is that? .java extension. Yes. For example, here we have to understand okay. Here I'm going to write a.java. So in Java, it is compulsory to have. Okay, it is not compulsory, but some people will say it is a compulsory to have the program name as a class name. The restrictions will be there. Okay, so I will tell you that. So for example, here we are having a class A. Okay, class A is there in our Java file. Here we are having one more class called as class B. Okay, in Java, for example, two classes are there, class A and class B. Now, if your main is present in class A, generally they will place A as our class name. Okay. Okay. Remember this point. For our Python, it is not compulsory. This concept is not there for our Python. But how difficult in our Java and other languages it is there. In Java, it is compulsory. Okay. I will tell what happens once the program is compiled. Okay. Now see. So here, if you observe this one, this is a source code. So where we are having two classes. So we are going to compile this one. After compilation, here we are going to have two different files it is going to create after compilation. So it is called as, so here what is the class name we are having? First class name, class A. So one file, if the compilation is success, it is going to create a file name called as a.class, class file. It is a, here one more class is there, B is there. Here one more file is called as what? B.class. Two files will be created. But when we are going to consider our C program or C++ program, there if we are going to execute a program, only one obj file will be created. But here what happens? In the one program only we can write multiple classes here. So here what happens? For each and every class, one file is going to be created. So at what time? Compile time. So after writing a source code, if you are going to compile, we are going to get what? In this case, we are getting two class files. One is a.class, second one is what? B.class. Very important thing here we have to observe. So whatever the code that is present inside this a.class is called as bytecode. In Java, this bytecode plays major role. Okay. Okay, this is called as what? Bytecode. This bytecode makes our Java as platform independent, so that we have to remember bytecode. In our Python also we are having the concept of bytecode. So remember bytecode. I will explain what is meant by bytecode. Now see, here what happens? We are getting what? A.class and B.class. Now let us consider this is whatever the program I am writing is in Windows operating system. So here one virtual machine will be there. The virtual machine name is what? Java virtual machine. Name, remember the name? Java virtual machine. In the same way, in our Python, we are having what? Python virtual machine. So after compilation, we are going to send these files to JVM. So JVM will check these two files and it will execute and it's going to generate output. Okay, we are going to get what? Output, right? Now the case is, what we have to understand is, what is the code that is present in this A dot class and B dot class, in which way? So remember one thing, that whatever the code that is present inside A dot class and B dot class is called as what? Bytecode. Very important word, that is bytecode. Why we are calling it as a bytecode means, every instruction that is present inside that class files will contain the size of byte, 1 byte. So we are calling that code, entire code is called as what? Bytecode. Okay, right. Right now see, this bytecode makes Java as platform independent. So I will tell you how it makes. So here this program is written where? In Windows operating system. Listen, remember this point, in Windows operating system. Now I want to send the, remember this, these two files to other program, that means other system, for example Linux operating system. Okay, so after compilation we are going to get these class files. So what we have to do, after sending this one, we have to execute directly by sending into JVM. So here, in which operating system we are executing these two class files? In Windows operating system. So this JVM is called as Windows JVM. Very important, it is Windows JVM. So before going to explain this one in detail, I will explain one small example. So for example, we are having a 3 sections. Remember that, 3 classes, 3 different classes I am having. So in first class, this section name is A section. Next, this is B section, and this is C section. 3 sections are there. Now, one motivational speaker came to motivate all the students who are in ABC sections. So remember carefully, listen carefully. This A section people talk only English. They don't know any other language. They know only English. B section people know only Hindi. C section people know what? Only some other language, for example Tamil. Okay, but this motivational speaker knows only Telugu. He knows only Telugu. This class is Tamil. Okay, correct. Now see, now case is, here what happens, this Telugu speaker came to A section first. So he knows only Telugu. This motivational speaker knows only Telugu. The students who are present in A section knows only English. Now what he has to do? He cannot communicate with those people. Already we have discussed the example there in our first session. Now what happens here? He has to keep one, what I can say, this one as translator. So he will speak, this motivational speaker will speak in Telugu. So this particular person should know which languages? So this particular person should know Telugu and English, so that when he speaks, so here I will write clearly. So here one person, this is motivational speaker, and here these are class students. For example, this is A section. Okay, this is A section. So he knows which language? Only Telugu. Now see, this A section people knows what? Only English. Okay, now Telugu person want to communicate with English people. How it is possible? In between, one translator should be there. So this should be which translator? This translator should be Telugu to English translator. Okay, now what happens? He will speak in Telugu. So this translator will receive Telugu, and he will convert the Telugu into English and transfer to the people, students. So here there is no communication problem. Finally, what he is teaching can understand by these people, these students. Okay, right. Now the case is, this is first case completed. Now the same person came to other section. The same person came to, for example, the same person came to one more section, that is what? B section. So in that section we are having what? Only the people knows what? Only Hindi, for example. Listen carefully. Here what I require? Again, same concept here. This is only Telugu. The person is from Telugu. Again, here I need one converter. That converter is, this converter is what? Sorry, this converter is Telugu to English. Now, which converter is required? Telugu to Hindi converter is required. Okay, Telugu to Hindi converter. If I go to C section, there which converter I require? Telugu to Tamil converter. Here, sorry, Telugu to Tamil converter. Here, one thing you have to observe that here, what is the common language? Telugu. Here it is Telugu. Here it is Telugu. If I go to C section, there also Telugu is common. In the same way, if we come to this JVM, listen carefully. If I come to this JVM, this code is related to this particular JVM can understand Java. Listen carefully. JVM can understand what? Java. It can convert to any other language. See, what is this converter can understand what? Telugu. He can translate to English. This particular translator, for example, here we are having one more translator is there. This can understand what? Telugu. It can convert to what? Hindi. Now, this is which JVM? This is Windows JVM. So Windows JVM can understand what? This JVM can understand Java. This translator can understand Telugu. This translator can understand Telugu. In the same way, our JVM can understand Java. So it has to translate that Java to which programming language? Which language? So it is which JVM? Windows JVM. So this translator can convert our Java to Windows understandable language. Very important thing. That is what? Windows understandable language. So this JVM, the task of this JVM is what? Converting Java to Windows understandable. Reason is what? This JVM is which JVM? Windows JVM. Now here in the same way, this translator can understand what? Translate what? Telugu to English. In the same way here, Telugu to Hindi. Here this JVM can convert what? Java to Windows understandable language. So finally we are going to get what? One file. Here we are going to get what? Executable file. There we are having what? Zeros and ones. So our Windows operating system can understand this one. Okay, this is the case. Now this is the case how Java program is going to be converted. Now our concept is, I want to say that Java is platform independent. So here I have taken only Windows. Now I want to take about Linux. Okay, so I will take one more system, that is Linux system. 1 minute. Right. Now you have understood about our what we can say normal byte code. Okay, this is a byte code I have generated in where? This is a dot class, this is b dot class files. A dot class and b dot class, which is generated from where? Java code, for source code Java. Now in first case, what I have taken, the files are sent to a JVM, which is which JVM? Windows JVM. So Windows JVM can understand what? Windows JVM can understand only, it can convert what? Java to Windows understandable language. This is which system? Windows system. Okay, so it can understand, it can convert, this Windows system can understand what? Only Windows related language. So this JVM is which JVM? This JVM is Windows JVM. So the purpose of JVM is what? To convert bytecode to Windows understandable language. Who can convert it? JVM. Which JVM can convert it? Windows JVM. Okay, now the case is the same files I am going to take to other system, because I want to show that I want to show our Java as platform independent. So these are what? A dot class and b dot class. Here what happens? See, here also one JVM is there for that particular Linux system. For example, I'm going to take the same thing to the Linux system. So this is which operating system? Sorry, this is which JVM? Linux JVM. It can convert what? So this is what? Windows JVM. So this JVM will convert what? Java to Windows. So this is which JVM? Linux JVM. So this Linux JVM can convert what? Java to Linux. So Java to Linux. So here our system is what? Linux system only. So it can understand. So this is what Linux system. Okay, this is what Linux system, right? This is the case. Now what happens means, if you send these files, to this system, then what happens? Whatever the code here that is present is what, or some, you can also send Java file also, no problem. But generally we will talk about class file. So the code that is present in this is what, bytecode in class file. So I will send these files to this one. So this code is generated related to Java only. So this particular Linux can understand what, Java. So it can understand Java, and this Linux JVM can convert what, that Java code to Linux understandable language. So now tell me that JVM is platform dependent or independent? So here which JVM is there? Linux JVM is there. Here which JVM is there? Windows JVM is there. That means what? Here this JVM is dependent. JVM is dependent. That means this compulsory, for Windows operating system, which JVM should be there? Windows JVM should be there. For Linux operating system, which JVM should be there? Linux JVM should be there. That means this JVM is dependent to the platform. Okay, JVM is platform dependent, but this JVM makes our Java as platform independent. The reason is what? Because of this one only, if I send the same code to this particular system, it executes here, and in this Linux system it is going to be executed, because here we are having one converter. Which converter is this one? Java to Linux converter. It can convert it. Here if I write some code in our Linux system, and if I send the same code to Windows, for example, then what happens? So here Windows JVM is there. Windows JVM can convert what? It can convert Java to Windows understandable language. Okay. So in this way, how Java is, we can say Java as platform independent. The same way, whatever we have seen here in our Python also, because of Python virtual machine, here we are telling what? Java virtual machine. There we are talking about what? Python virtual machine. There we are not bothering about these class files. The reason is what? Directly we are going to execute a Python program. Here what happens in Java or C or C++, compilation has to be done separately and execution is going to be done separately. But in our Python, there is no concept of compiling. It is not compulsory. It is not compulsory to compile the program. So how it is going to be done means, I am going to send a Python program. This is .py Python. For example, py file, some a.py. Okay, some a.py is there. So if I send this file to this Python PVM, this is called as PVM. So in next class we will see what is meant by PVM in detail, no problem. So PVM, directly it is going to give me output. Here there is no concept of compiling, there is no concept of additional obj files or .class files. Okay, so till now if you are unable to understand also, no problem, it is not related to our Python, but you have to know how other languages, how we are going to compile and how we are going to execute the program. So now in our Python, what happens? A.py file is going to send to Python virtual machine. So here it is going directly giving output file. Okay, so in next class we will see internally in Python what happens. Sorry, in this PVM what happens, we will see in next class, don't worry. Okay, so now here when compared to other languages, our Python program execution will be easy. Okay, all right, 1 minute. So this is about program execution. So I want to show you once I will show you a Python execution, and I will show you once again, what can I say, Java also, whatever I have discussed now, so that you will get a clarity on that. Okay, now see, here you can observe second dot. See, here you can observe a file called as second.py. So if I execute this one, will there be any see here, you have to understand that. See here, I'm going to execute that one. See, Python space second.py. If I press enter, will you see any modifications that are going to be done on desktop? It is not going to do anything. Directly it is going to give me, it is not going to generate any files. Internally it is going to do something. In PVM it is going to generate the class files. we are not going to see it. I will show you what happens. Okay, in next class I will show you in detail. Here, do we get any, what we can say, any other files here? No, we are not getting. But I will let a small Python program for your sake, so that you can understand the difference. So if we consider a Python program, okay, sorry, Java program. So here much thing you have to understand, but I will let a small program for your sake. So if I consider a Java program, compulsory statements are public, static, many different things will be there in our Java when compared to Python. So Python is very easy language. Okay, in other languages we have to remember many things. So right, this is the compulsory statement. In other languages, compulsory, there should be what? Main should be there. Generally they will use main, but in our Python, main is not compulsory. So this is what a Java program, not Python program. So just to print a hi method, how many statements we have written? See here, all these statements are compulsory in, to print a hi message in our Java. But in our Python, what? Just we are writing what? Print hi. That's it. So now see, here I am saving this one as A. Okay, A dot Java, where I am saving it in desktop, on desktop. Okay, so see, just I have saved this. So now you can observe the Java file here. You have to observe this one. Okay, is there, once see the files, what are the files that are present in a desktop? Is there any other file named as A here? Nothing is there. Okay, so now you can observe that on the desktop, you see whenever I am pressing enter, one file is going to be created on desktop. So see, A dot Java. Now see carefully, when I am pressing enter, what happens? See, you can observe something that is going to be modified on this one. One more file is going to be created after compilation of Java program. So that name will be what? See, compilation is over, one more file is created here. The name of that is what? A dot class. If we are having two classes in our Java program, how many files will be created? Two class files will be created. Okay, I have taken only one class, so that here one class will be created. One class has been created. Now see, to execute that one, I have to type what? Java space A. So now what happened? Just the message, the JVM will take this class file and it will execute, and the message is what? Hi will be printed. Okay, so these many steps are there to execute a Java program. So if we consider our Python program with any other programming language, it is very easy. Okay, so this is the way how to execute a Java program. So see, for our sake, I am going to take whatever the thing I have shown you there. I will show you. See here, how many classes are there? Two classes are there. Now I will save this one. Okay, I have saved this one. Once again, I am going to compile the program. Now see, one more file is going to be created here. B.java. How many classes are there in my file? Two. See, A and B. Now two files are available here. Okay, that means if you are going to write n number of 100 classes in your Java program, 100 class files will be present in that directory. What about our Python? In Python also class files will be created, but what happens there? There separately inside the Python file only class files will be created. If you want to see what we can say, these class files, or we can say bytecode. Okay, let us say bytecode. For that we can have some alternative. I will show you, but generally these are internal things. So I am going to make you to understand internal things also. Okay, so I will show you the bytecode. That means the files after compilation we are going to get some files, PYC files. Those are called as Python compilation files, PYC files. After compiling, we are going to get a files named as what? .pyc. In our Java, we are going to get some files called as what? .class files. Okay, right. And this is the main difference between other programming languages and Java when compared in execution only. But if we go to concept way, in concepts, there will be much differences between there in our C, C++, Java and Python. But when compared to Java, Python has developed earlier when compared to Java. Okay, but in our mainly till now we have used Java, but from not from 4-5 years onwards, our company is also focusing on this Python. So now Python is very important for in any job role. Compulsory is a basic language that should be known. Okay, right. So this is about our execution of the different programming languages. So in next session we will see in detail about PVM, that is what Python virtual machine, and some other basic concepts. Okay.